Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 35 of the Whitey and Wills Sports Show. Today is Sunday, May 22nd, and the IHSA state track finals for the girls were yesterday. So we thought, perfect guest to have on the Whitey and Wills Show this week, somebody who is very familiar with winning medals at the state track and the state cross country meets. Anna Sophia Keller is with us today. Somebody who won, let me think, you won 7 first place medals at the state track meets, right? And also a 4-time winner of the state cross country meet. So a St. Anthony High School grad, a very accomplished distance runner, and somebody who took those talents to the University of Notre Dame after running in high school. Anna Sophia, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
So, like I said, we thought that, an appropriate time with the state track meet, just wrapping up in Charleston this weekend. You're a person who's very familiar with that. And the first thing I need to know is, you ran collegiately. You're finished with the college running now. Are you still in shape? Are you still getting after it out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think just from my mentality of in my family and everything of being big into sports, whether it was soccer, swimming, all of us have done so many sports, and running's kind of what stuck with me. And that's kind of what my favorite thing was ever since like junior high. And so just training, and that is just part of me. I felt like whenever I did go into the workforce, I couldn't just work out easy. I feel like I still had to do my big workouts, creating my own workout plans and stuff. So I've been pretty much working out exactly the same as I had been in college, which is kind of exciting. I just wanted to stay in shape. I felt like whenever I was doing workouts, I could run really fast times. So I was like, I'm just going to see if I can push my limits.
So the competitive spirit doesn't leave you once you're not on a team anymore.
No. And well, I don't know if you guys have heard anything or not, but I'm really glad I did. And I had even competed in a meet at Notre Dame unattached just to see how I'd run in cross country. And I also did for track 2 in the 1500 at Ohio State about a month ago, because I'm actually going to go back to Notre Dame and run again and get my master's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you still have eligibility left?
I do. So because of COVID, they had that whole year. So like I still competed in track and cross country, but it didn't technically count because some schools weren't in session in person. So they extended the year. So you kind of have like 6 years to use. And I called my coach early in January or February, I can't remember. And I was like, can I still go back? Like, is that a possibility? Can I go back and get my master's and run? And he's like, let me look into it. And so we did, and he gave me a final answer not that long ago. And it was like, can you do a track meet, kind of see where you're at unattached? And so I ran the 1500. I was happy with it. He was happy with it, and got into the program that I wanted. I'm going in to get a master's in business for management. And so I'll be back there in about a month.
Wow.
Well, this is like breaking news. We're breaking news, Whitey, on our podcast. Huh?
You heard it here first.
Exactly. We can hang our hat on that.
Exciting stuff.
Well, yeah, that's impressive. And I had heard this fall when I was talking to your dad that you had gone back and ran really well in a cross country meet and actually ran your best time than when you were competing.
Yeah, so I did. It was a 5K. So usually in cross country, the first few meets we do our 5K, but then when it comes to more competitive like ACCs and nationals and so on, it's a 6K. So that was one of the meets that we ran a 5K at, and I had trained while I was working in the summer, and I was going to go back for the football game, Notre Dame versus University of Cincinnati, my new city. And so I was there and I was like, hey, is it okay if I run unattached in the meet? And he's like, yeah, just, pay the entry fee and everything. And so I ran at the cross country meet. I felt like I was in good shape. So I was like, it'll just be fun, see where I'm at, just with my own training. And I was able to run one of my best times there. So I was really happy. It was I think a 17 flat, which was a few seconds faster than my other time there.
So now an important question. Were you happy when Cincinnati beat Notre Dame?
No, of course.
All right.
Well, because, in my office, there was like a whole, there was a few people I graduated from there, and, everybody was harping on me because I was at Notre Dame, like, oh, you're going to get beat. And now with Notre Dame playing Ohio State first game next year in football, we'll see how that goes.
There you go. Well, yeah. Well, congratulations. Now, what do you do in Cincinnati and until you go back to school?
So I originally came here and I was working for a tech sales company. So it was a Japanese tech company. It's one of the most profitable companies in Japan, but they have offices all over here in the US. I was put in the Cincinnati one. And so I was selling like PLCs, HMI, servo motors. So that's all of like the manufacturing side. I went and visited a lot of places throughout Dayton, Cincinnati, and Columbus area. That was my territory. And it was a great job, paid really well and everything, but I just didn't feel like it was what I wanted to do. And then I kind of was seeing like, I kind of want to go back to school. I want to see if the running thing would work out. The other job was taking up a ton of time. I couldn't do the training and working out I wanted to do. So I kind of expanded to see if there was something I could do in the meantime before I could go back to school. And this was even before I knew I could officially go back. I was like, I'm just going to take a leap of faith and do something else and also get more work experience, because the only job I had ever had was this sales job. So I ended up working at a studio here. It's part of a franchise called Exponential Fitness. And I'm a studio manager of Stretch Lab. So that's what it's called. And they do one-on-one assisted stretching. So we have trained flexologists is what we call them. And people have appointments there every week. And they get stretched, do like kind of rehab type of things as well, and preventative care.
I think I need a flexologist is what I think.
Yeah.
I think that would help me, Whitey.
Well, you might, maybe a couple other things too, but add that to the list.
Okay. Now, and I have another question. When you were running track at Notre Dame, because I'd go in and check on your meets every so often, see how you were doing. You were running the steeplechase, correct?
Yes. So that was like my new event in college. I remember in like indoor track season, my freshman year, I was talking to my coach, and for outdoor season, it's the 1500, so a little less than a mile, about like 19 seconds faster than what a 1600 would be. And then there was the 5K, which is a little over 3 miles, and there was nothing in between. And I was like, can I do the steeplechase? Because that's a 3K, just under 2 miles. And he's like, you're short, you have to run hurdles, right? And I'm flexible, I can do it. And he's like, okay, we'll think about it. And I kept on harping. I was like, can I really do steeplechase? Like, I really want to do that. And then he's like, you know what? I think you could be good at that. Like, I think you have the flexibility and you have the speed to, hurdle. You're not jumping over them, you're hurdling them. So he's like, we'll work on that. And then, so that's why I started freshman year. And then as the years followed, I just really progressed in that. And that ended up kind of being my thing in track.
I mean, and I got to agree with your coach. When I saw that, I thought, she's not very tall. I mean, so any tumbles?
No. So have I fallen in practice? No, I don't think I have. I have like clipped my knee before, and like with those hurdles, they're like it's like a cinder block. It's so thick. Like if you nick that thing, you are going to fall or you're going to get a massive bruise because those aren't going anywhere like normal hurdles. So, you know, I've clipped my foot before, but I've lost a little bit of balance, but I've not fallen. I have though in like the water jump, like semi-fallen, like my hands touched the floor, but I didn't like face plant. But that was like once, I think. So let's hope when I go back, I don't. Let's hope I keep the track going.
The water part of it is what seems like it wouldn't appeal to me at all. Like, I mean, so I assume your feet end up getting wet, right? I mean, and then you don't get blisters or anything? I mean, that, you know, that's, I always hated whenever I was on a run and my shoes got wet, like running on rain.
Runs like Zola Butt. She doesn't wear shoes.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't wear socks because that's just gonna add weight, and I feel like it'd probably make it worse. So, but usually when I do race now, I'm very like cautious of what shoes I'm wearing and stuff because I have gotten blisters without wearing socks. But I usually try not to wear socks when I race, whether it's a dry event or steeplechase.
So for the water, you see a lot of racers and then leap off the hurdle, or do you just clear the hurdle?
No, you definitely want to leap off of it.
That gets you carrying over more water.
Right. So you can get that momentum and your height to get over as much water as possible. Because I think it's 10 feet long, the whole water pit. And then it's like 3.5 feet or so at the deepest part, and that tapers up. So you want to get out as far as you can so your foot's not as submerged in the water.
So you're telling me that's the thing you lobbied for then? Like, I assume a lot of kids come into college programs, and I don't know if steeplechase is a high school event anywhere. It's obviously not in Illinois, but I mean,
yeah.
Is that a thing that a lot of people wanted to do, or did you not really? Were people knocking the coach's door over asking for that, or was?
I think you were late to practice, and he said, "Tell steeplechase."
Yeah, no, I was the only person my freshman year that did it. Last year we had we had 4. One of the girls was kind of injured and recovering from some stuff, but 3 of us that were really competitive at it. That I think at one point Notre Dame was ranked number 1 or 2 as the steeplechase program, just because we had 3 girls who were really good at it. But yeah, no, I kind of, the water wasn't the most appealing thing to me, but I wanted to do it just because that was the distance I felt like I was the most competitive at. Because I feel like with the 1500, I enjoy that because it's more of a sprint. But with me being so short, I think that kind of like is a little bit of a toll. I feel like when you get closer to the sprints, you kind of want that
Got to be long
for leverage. And then the 5K was just a little too long for me. I mean, obviously I run that in cross country and stuff, but I think the 5K isn't my ideal distance. So I thought the 3K was the best one. And if I had to jump over hurdles to do it, that's what I was going to do.
But with all your swim training, you had an advantage on these people. The water was nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you get like water because it's splashing and all the people next to you too. So you get like water all the way up to here.
Oh, I
like
bet.
Wet.
Well, and I know as we were talking beforehand, you dealt with some illness, kind of slowed you down a little bit. And then, you know, COVID wrecked the whole world's aspect on anything. So really you didn't get a complete collegiate career.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like, so I was going to finish off, you know, my senior year as normal and everything, graduate and then go work. And I was kind of upset with how I finished off my last collegiate race. It was the steeplechase at regionals. I was actually having some other health issues for like a few weeks at that time. And I ran, I think, my slowest time all season at regionals and missed going to nationals by 1 place. And I was like, if I ran any other time throughout the whole entire season, I would have been totally fine. I think I was even ranked probably maybe not placed at nationals, but close to placing at nationals too. And then I just run awful and don't even make it. And I was really upset. And I was like, well, that's just how my collegiate career is going to end, I guess. But as I've mentioned to you guys before, like, it's just within me, that competitive nature and wanting to just stay in shape. And the only way I knew how to stay in shape was training as like if I'm competing. So I'd done that all summer, and because I was able to keep up with the speed and everything, I was like, you know what, let's just run into race, see how it goes. And then I was like, actually, coach, can I come back? So yeah, I'm really excited that I get that extra chance. I feel like it was probably good that I took this time away and was able to have a normal job and figure out other things like that so that I can go back and bring my experience I've had outside of the college world, outside of the running world, and go back into it with the new mind.
Well, good for you.
Here's what I want to ask. So we mentioned, you were the state champion in cross country all 4 years of high school. You won the mile all 4 years and the 3,200 every year, but your freshman year when you got second. Okay, so a dominant force in the
Wait a minute. She got second because she fell.
Yeah, that race I fell, not the steeplechase, right?
Yeah. She had the race, what were you, 10 meters from the finish?
Yeah, I was pretty close. I would say no more than 50 meters probably from the finish line. My legs, it was a hot day, and
Yeah.
I was not going to let up. I just was trying to sprint the last 300 of the race, and my legs just gave out on me, and I just fell down. And I kind of just like, it just went black for me. I was like, wait, what just happened? And then someone passes me. I was like, I can't believe that just happened to me. Like, how did I fall from just running so hard?
The point remains, though, dominant force in prep, track and cross country in Illinois. And then you go to Notre Dame. And I assume that your teammates there are all people who were pretty high caliber runners of their in their own rights in high school. So I guess my question is, like, is it intimidating at all to have to deal with that? Or is it kind of refreshing to have people around you that are going to be pushing you? Because what I always noticed when I was at the Daily News in Effingham covering the state track meet was that kids ran their best times at state a lot of times because they were being pushed. And I assume that maybe that's what's going on in practice every day, whenever you're with a group of elite athletes.
Yeah, I think that it really depends on the different types of people. There are some people who rather just be able to run on their own and they can do their own pace. And there's some people that need those other faster folks to run with them to help motivate them to run faster in their practices. But I think for me, it was just different, but I don't know. I feel like I knew how to train by myself. And then after being with them, I knew how to train with people too. So I think it's just different. I don't know what it's probably better. Yeah. I mean, I do miss working out with people right now because whenever you don't have that person pushing you, especially in sprints, like it's hard to motivate yourself to go faster. It's like, well, my legs are going so fast already, but if you had someone there with you, your mentality changes a little bit and your body can give that more. So in that sense, for that extra little bit to get better, you definitely do need those teammates there that are that higher caliber. So it wasn't like it was intimidating. It was just, a fun experience that other people that are even more similar to you that you get to race with and you get to train with, and you understand, and it helps you in those meets too, when there's like some tactical things, you're running with your teammates, and sometimes in those cross country meets when it gets so fuzzy and you can't find someone, you're like, oh, okay, I can find that bright green jersey that's Notre Dame and go behind them because I run with them all the time at practice.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you mess with longer distances at all? Like when you're training on your own, do you, I guess, like, have you ever done like a marathon or anything like that just for fun? Or is that, that's not your bag at all?
No, there's so many people that think like, oh, you're probably like, once you're retired, you're gonna want to do the half marathons at least or marathons. I'm like, I really don't think I'm gonna be that person. I just don't like running distance. Like today I did my long run, which was, for me, it's long, it's 6 miles. For other people, it's probably like nothing. But I really have to like motivate myself to do that. I much prefer to do shorter things like mile repeats or 200s. And that's kind of more like what I like to run.
See, and I that's funny because there's people that I run with, who do those, they do hill repeats and stuff like that. And I'm like, this sucks so much. I just want to go out there and pick a speed and do it as long as I can. So I guess it's everybody's just built a little different.
Yeah, I guess like the challenge of being like, okay, I just have to sprint for this distance and you get a mini break and you just got to keep on doing it.
Yeah.
All right. And I have a question. I know, very competitive. I know your family's very competitive. Does your little sister have any of your times plastered on her wall?
So I know, do you remember the cow chip? So I know she ran that in 5th grade and she has the record now. So she crushed my time in that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so she's got the 5th grade's cow chip cross country record. But I mean, with the COVID and everything, she never even had a chance to do some of the other ones. And then
is she in 7th grade now, or just going to be in 8th grade?
Yes. Okay. And then wasn't able to compete in track this year because she had some health problems with her knee, and then an incident at school too, an art class where she had to she cut her hand and had to have some hand surgery. So she was out for a little bit of time and she wasn't able to compete in track, which was really sad because she was in really good shape and I was excited to see what she could post in the mile, but unfortunately we'll have to wait till next year.
So when you're home, or is there ever any little smack talking going on, or?
No, absolutely not. I love running with her. Like, it's so fun whenever like we'll do hills sometimes and my dad would like drive the truck up and we'll like race after it. She'll go out in front of me or I'll like give her a head start, and sometimes I'm surprised at how fast she goes because like I cannot catch her and I'm like shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, like she was not even that far ahead of me when she started, and I'm like just killing myself trying to reach her. And then she always wants to do more. Like, I'm done after like 8 or 10. And she's like, I can do another one. I was like, I can't believe you can do that.
So just so I can know how bad about myself to feel. You did a 6-mile run. How fast did you do that today?
What was it? It was probably like 37 minutes, 38.
I don't feel as bad as I thought I was going to. Okay, but
no, it was like a 6.
Stop to get ice cream in the middle, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I never in my life could run 1 6-minute mile, let alone 6 of them. But that's nice to know that I'm not completely embarrassed to hear that. They're actually one of my training partners when I was training for a marathon, Mike. That was when he was on the track team at Eastern. That's something they did. They'd do a run to Dairy Queen. They'd have to eat ice cream as fast as they could and then sprint back. That was I don't know.
Didn't sound like good training to me.
Well, probably a good way to throw up. Here's something else. Since we've brought up the state, the IHSA stuff, is there any particular moment from any of those meets that you still think about, still go back to in your head, or is that just kind of all ancient history for you at this point?
I mean, I feel like it's long ago, but it's not that long ago. I guess my senior year would have been 5 years ago now at this point. But I know every time I ran there, I don't remember if it's like every race or if it was just the 3,200 meter run, but after freshman year, they'd always mention, like, they always have someone announcing, and they'd always talk about how I fell my freshman year. Like every time while I'm running the race, like it's the finals at state, and they always have to mention that I fell. And I was like, why are they always bringing that up? It's like 3 years ago now. So I remember that, like every time I ran there. And then, but I think also just my senior year, because our girls team did really well as a team, and we placed in the relay, the 4x4. So that was really exciting, since we had Kristen Slaughter with the pole vault, and then I had the mile and the 32, and then we had our relay. And we even had girls who did like the 800 and everything too. So it's just a really great team that year, which was exciting.
Yeah, Anna, Jess was the alternate on that 4x4, and thank goodness no one was sick, because her and Kristen's little sister, like an hour before the race, went over to the Union, and they're like, oh, they have a Chick-fil-A here, and we're tanking up on chicken tenders. And I'm like, what are you doing? You may have to race. She goes, nah, everybody's good. So yeah, she may not have ran a good leg had someone, needed to be pulled out that day.
No, she would have done great.
I always felt like, and you can maybe agree or disagree with me here, but I always felt like the atmosphere at the state finals in Charleston was always pretty good. I don't know how many big crowds you ever get for just a regular, weekday track meet in high school, but it always felt like they had a lot of people there, and it was a pretty good atmosphere to run in. But then I'm guessing that once you get into college, you're probably running into a lot of meets where they're well attended or not. I don't know. You tell me.
I would actually say probably that state track meet in Illinois. It's like a really big thing, because when it's the finals, they have the 3A and 2A. So they have all of those Chicago schools that are really big into running. So they have kind of a wide presence there. And those stands are huge, and they're pretty much all full for that state meet. In college, since Eastern, that's also their football field too. They're like their football stadium. So I feel like their stands are really big for that. And college, pretty much all the tracks are their own stadium. So their stands usually aren't that big. Oh. And I think like even for like ACCs and track and everything, there's people that come and watch an event and then they leave. So it's usually not at school, I would say.
Yeah.
And Illinois State track meet, tremendous crowd every year, and it's either 90 degrees or it's raining. It's one or the other. There's never, hey, let's just have a nice weekend, 77 degrees. These kids can have a great conditions. It never works out.
No, it was always like a storm, or it's like 95 to 100 and everyone's getting sunburned because no one wants to put on sunscreen because it hurts like when you're sweating. Yeah.
I felt bad.
Anna, now, here's my tidbit of information I heard about you.
Okay, here we go.
I understand you are very passionate about college football.
Oh, I love college football.
And I was told,
yeah,
when you were getting ready to go on the visits, you made sure you were going to go to schools that had quality college football program.
I don't know what that was a part of my thought process, but now that like I'm looking back at all the schools I did visit, like Auburn was another one which has a pretty good program. I visited Florida State, which they've been on the rough side, but they've had good programs. Like when my mom went to school at Florida State, they won a national championship then in the 90s. So, but yeah, no, now that I think about it, I guess a lot of the schools had good football, which is good because I'm a huge football fan.
So that just tells me that she never visited the University of Illinois then.
I've been to University of Illinois a lot, and I talked to the coach and everything, but.
So, During college, big football game on the weekend. Do you guys, you make sure you don't have cross-country meets on those weekends so you can go to the games?
Yeah, so most of the cross-country meets are actually Fridays.
Oh, really?
So we would usually be able to come back for a game. I think there was only one or two that I had to miss. But for the most part, I was able to go to all of them, which was good.
So I've been to one Notre Dame game years and years ago. Incredible atmosphere. I mean, that's the thing. It lives up to its hype. It really does.
Yeah, and then the stadium is so nice too, with all the additional stuff that they've added on the sides, making the experience better. So
When you're an athlete there, do you get the inside track on tickets, or is it still, do you still have to kind of work think ahead for that stuff like anybody else does?
yeah, so it would just be normal student tickets. So Holy Cross, St. Mary's, and Notre Dame, they all have their student tickets that you get, and it's like the side where they enter in through the fields, we get that right hand corner, so it's all over there. But they do, so for sports that have that are during that season, so people on the soccer team and things like that, they can get student athlete tickets, and that's basically so that they can purchase the tickets that they're able to be at home that weekend to go to the games, because they travel more and they could be traveling on those Saturdays. But usually we'll buy just the regular student tickets since we're there most of the weekends.
All right.
So since you're going back now, have you started researching your NIL opportunities? You know, you can make more money now than you're making on your jobs.
Oh, you mean like when they're letting people do the
name, image, likeness.
Yeah, because I remember always before we whenever we had to do our physicals, everything before the sports, like we had to go through this training and I think it was in the basketball room, wherever they watch their plays and stuff, and we had to learn about you can't sell your name, image, and likeness and blah blah. So that'll be interesting to see what that talks like now.
She
needs to make some calls to Effingham area businesses.
Whitey, how big is our budget? I mean, we got to break the story. We could put a little patch on her shoulder.
What you got in your wallet?
I don't have my wallet downstairs with me. It's upstairs. So
I don't know. That's our budget. Mike Wilson
may be out of our control.
All right. Well, I don't know. Had to throw that out there. Mike, you got we've been going for about a half hour. What you got anything?
No, I'm glad that Anna's I'm excited to follow her running one more year. Like I said, I go on the website, look at results, and that's interesting. We got to break the story. So we're breaking news. I'll get a notification like I get my ESPN notifications on my phone.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
That's impressive. I appreciate that. That's congratulations. And once you get done with your master's, back in the job, you'll be successful, because I know what kind of person you are. I mean, I saw it firsthand. I saw how hard you work. I mean, I loved, it was your senior year going to cross country meets, a big invitational when you'd run, because my goal was to guess how far behind the second place runner would be. And I was always shocked, because it's like, well, this just isn't a duel between, St. Anthony and Flora. This is a big invitational. And I'm like, you'd go by and I'm like, I'd look around the corner and where is everybody? So it was just so impressive, because, you didn't compete. You didn't perform to the level of your competition. Hey, it's me and the clock. I'm just going to go out and I'm going to, you gave it all. You crossed that finish line, and, I got to help a couple of years. We affectionately call it the puke shoot at cross country meets, as people would come in, and you were selling out every meet, and second place isn't even seen. Most people, today they're coasting and waving to their fans, and no, you just put your head down and you were gone. And I love that part of it, because you know, like I said, you didn't take anything for granted. You were going to push yourself all the time.
Yeah, I had to post the times. I wanted to make sure that I could each year, especially when it was like those cross country meets, like each time you only get to run that course once. So you just want to run your best time, get faster each year. And it was always something that I wanted to do in college too. So I needed to make sure that I had good times that coaches would notice me from small schools.
That's awesome. I really did. I enjoyed watching you. I got to see a lot of you that year, both track and cross country.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, with that said, Mike, if you don't have any other questions, I think we could probably let Anna go.
He's probably got to go do some cool down laps around the neighborhood or something.
Yeah, we offer our guests every week before we start recording the chance to stay on with us and discuss the high school sports scene, and most of them have not taken.
Nobody's ever stayed, Whitey. They don't.
Yeah, well,
they don't want to hear just you and I.
Well, I don't. How can I blame them? But Anna Sophia Keller, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and breaking some news for us. And I'm sure, all the folks back home are going to be interested to see this. So, really glad you could take the time with us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad I could talk to you, Dustin, Mike. I really appreciate it.
All
Well,
right.
good luck, Anna. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just have a great night.
And that's Anna Sophia Keller, St. Anthony High School graduate, going back to Notre Dame. So we'll give her a chance to bail out on the call.
Yeah,
And
Whitey, we should have your sound bite for our Attaboy. You need to have a little little music when we have breaking news.
I've never had the opportunity before, but now I know. I know.
I was excited to hear that.
I should always be prepared. I was in the Scouts. That's what we're supposed to live by. Be prepared.
That's even bigger than stories about Greg Sapp and Larry Wilson running over deer. That's better. That's impressive.
So we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
We're
all over the board now. There's a lot of strange things going on.
I think what we probably do, since we've been on track and field and running and stuff already, is we could go ahead
on the state meet.
Yeah, talk about the girls' state meet. The prelims for Class A, 1A were Thursday, and then the finals were Saturday. The finals, whether you kind of alluded to it, but they
terrible.
Yeah, they had a lot of issues with the weather. It was a crappy day in Charleston.
Thursday was 90 degrees, wasn't it?
It was warm, yeah, for sure. I got my lunchtime run in on campus up there, and really got about 2 miles into it and didn't want to be out there anymore.
You go to Dairy Queen?
No, I never took the guy up on that. That sounded awful to me. I can barely make myself drink in the middle of a run, let alone eat an ice cream cone. But we had some local athletes who went and had a nice state meet. We've talked an awful lot about Grace Nelson on this show because she's quite the basketball player at Altamont, just a sophomore who's already scored gobs of points. She's already, did she get over 2,000 this year before it was all said and done, or is she kind of still knocking on the door? I forget now. She crossed over that 1,000-point.
COVID year hurt her.
Yeah. Otherwise, 2 full seasons, she'd be over 2,000 by now.
I think she will cross it fairly early this year, if I remember right.
Anyway, basketball is not the only sport she's good at. Okay, she's a state champion hurtler. She won the 100-meter hurdles easily. If you happen to see video of the race, she just obliterated the field. Let's see. Now I need to go back and look.
Hang on, I'll bail you out here, maybe, depending on how quick my internet is.
Well, I had it pulled up. She got second place in the 300 hurdles.
Second in the 300s by about 0.4 of a second. So in the 300s, that's close.
and then got third place in the 200-meter run. So three-time medalist at the state track meet, a state champion, as we mentioned, in the 100-meter hurdles. What more can you say? She's obviously a special athlete, and I think went in there with the mentality that she wanted to win those races, and expected.
I think she had fastest qualifying time in both hurdles, but the 300 she just barely had best qualifying time.
Yeah,
300 was closer.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, she had the best qualifying time in the 300 hurdles as well as the 100 hurdles. She was a little bit slower in the finals, and the girl who won, boy, she ran a PR in the finals after finishing more than a second behind Grace in the prelims. She ran a PR and ended up winning the state championship there. So, that's the thing. And I kind of tried to bring it up with Anna Sophia a little bit. You go that state track meet and sometimes kids will be facing the best, or not sometimes.
Well,
they will be
and the
facing
thing is with their
competition.
preliminary, you might run in Northwest Illinois where you're running in a 20-mile-an-hour headwind the day you run.
I mean,
but you never really know. But that's tremendous. State champ, earned 25 points herself.
Yep.
And then she ran, and then Tatopoulos had 24 points. Caitlin Volling got 5th in the 200.
Yes.
In the 100, was she
fourth? Fourth in the 100, yes.
And then in the
400, also fourth.
And then Isabella Hemming got 2nd in the pole vault. I think she tied for 2nd.
I'm looking at this right now. Yes, there was a 3-way tie for 2nd place.
And she went 11 what? Because this meet, when did they go back to meters? I saw this stuff in the prelims. I'm like, what?
Yeah, 3.5 meters to feet. I'm just gonna do it real quick here. It's
that's about 11.3, isn't it?
11. Yeah, that is what it is. So,
hey, I paid attention when they told me 45 years ago that we're going to have the metric system.
It's 11.4 feet, whatever that is, 11.5, basically 11.5 feet. So,
okay, so almost 11.6. So,
yep.
Yeah, she got 2nd place. That's awesome. And I don't think we had anybody else place in the area, did we?
Yeah, I'm looking, I'm scanning it to make sure, but I took a look before we got on.
I did too. I was looking at it Saturday as I was watching them, because I don't think in the team results anybody else earned points really in the area.
You've had years where the local
school competed
really well represented.
Yeah, St. Anthony a year, T-Town a year, both in the hunt for getting points. If a couple things would have gone their way, could have, been better.
You had a lot of kids from Newton that participated in the prelims on Thursday, but none of those individuals.
Brownstown got points, but I don't know who got them for.
Addie McWhorter in the high jump.
Oh, okay.
She tied for 6th place. So there you go.
Well, good.
There you go.
I just saw where Brownstown had points. So congratulations. And that's awesome. And shame on us. I know you and I talked about it. It's either been too windy or too cold to go out to a track meet. I remember when my daughter ran, I had to go to them. There were I remember going to Tuscola, and I think it was 2 days later before I thawed out. It's the coldest place I've ever been.
Yeah, my sister was always in it when I was she's a couple of years behind me in school, so especially those first 2 years I'd go to some of her meets, but that's just kind of that's the spring season, right? Like the first portion of it. Now it depends on the year how long that portion is, but the first portion of it is miserable. It's either cold or raining or both. And then you get to the state finals and all of a sudden it's hotter than hell.
Yeah, you're worried about getting, and all you're worried about is can I afford another strawberry shakeout? That's all you're worried about.
Yeah.
Now, in Tuscola, Whitey, it was so cold. I was wrapped up in 2 blankets, and I never get that cold. Oh, it was brutal. I could not believe kids were running in those conditions because it was breezy. It wasn't windy, but it was just a constant breeze. And it was about 38 degrees.
I think last year, it was last year, right, that the spring sports schedule was everything was pushed back a
Yeah, it
week.
got pushed way back. Yeah.
And so the state track finals were even
Yeah, it
later.
was like August 3rd, and it was like horrible.
I can't imagine, because that was, and I think I've probably said it before, but every year when you're going to the state track meet and interviewing local kids after they run, you try to grab them off the finish line, but usually you got to wait. You got to wait for nature to take its course, because a lot of these kids literally run their guts out. Okay. They finish the race, they barf, and then you talk to them. Okay. And
sometimes at the same time.
I can only imagine adding another week or two to that, later in the year and getting that much warmer. So especially once they got that artificial turf at O'Brien Stadium, that stuff retains the heat a little better. So
it keeps it warmer.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So anyway, the boys meet will be this next weekend. Do it the same way. There'll be prelims on Thursday and Friday for the 3 classes, and then they'll do all the finals for all 3 classes on Saturday. And hopefully the weather is a little better for them than it was on Saturday for the finalists this year. They got it all in, but I've been there before when you keep hearing thunder and having to wait another 15 minutes or whatever it is.
I remember back when I coached, which would have been at Kim Richardson and some of those girls at state. And there used to be just this monster maple or oak tree right at the end of the stadium on the south end there, kind of where they bring people in, and it's huge.
Yeah.
And I remember it wasn't lightning, it was raining so hard. There was like an inch of water on the back stretch of the track, but they wouldn't let the kids into the staging area unless they were there for their event, because they had to keep it sane. So there's like 100 girls huddled under this tree, and it's just raining buckets. And I was like, are you kidding? Let those kids under the tent.
I will say that they've whenever that was, the drainage on the track there is they've done a lot with it since then.
Because I was watching kids like run the 800, and the water was like that deep on the backstretch.
Yeah,
it was bad.
It's
because they had to go inside. Obviously, it's a lot of the pole vault, high jump were inside, long jump, and because I remember Kim was high jumping and she was just soaked.
And the thing is, my experience, and this is mostly anecdotal because I was at the newspaper for 4 or 5 years, so I don't have a ton of experience covering the track meet, but I always thought when the weather forced them to do the field events inside in the field house there, the performances just weren't as good across the board.
You're right. It just seemed
it's not natural.
Because you didn't have the whole crowd behind you. Because I've been there watching kids, high jump, and hey, Susie's going for the state record of 6 foot even on the high jump or whatever, and the whole crowd's getting into it. Yeah, it's just,
and
it's different when you have that, like you said, the kids feed off of that crowd.
Anna Sophia mentioned that track announcer, never forgot that she fell down. Well, I can tell you this,
Mattoon, isn't he?
I believe so. It's the same guy who does it all the time. And here's the thing. He remembered, okay? That wasn't written down on a piece of paper and he's just repeating it. He remembered because he's been there. And so I could see where it's a little annoying, but also it's, the guy, it's somebody who just cares and
I still remember because he did the PA during Eastern basketball games, screaming "Sir Duck" every time Kevin Duckworth scored.
Yeah,
Sir Duck. He just screamed.
Long time, for sure. Yeah. All right, let's switch gears.
Let's go to baseball.
Let's do it. A lot of regional championship games didn't get played yet.
No, very few in our area have been played.
Yeah, I guess. I was looking on IHSA's website. I assume that they're going to play them Monday.
Yeah,
tomorrow?
I've seen on the score zone. Most of them are Monday, 4 o'clock. We did soft prognostication last time. Well, if this happens, so and so match up. Boy, I'm glad people don't listen to us and go to Vegas.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, here's one regional championship that hasn't been played yet, and it's not the matchup we would have probably guessed. St. Anthony. Now, St. Anthony being in the regional championship, that's not the surprising part. But what is surprising is that they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing Brownstown St. Elmo when they do.
Brownstown St. Elmo, and they're pretty good. But boy, Altamont was really good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They beat Altamont 10-4 in the semifinal. Altamont's, I wasn't there. Maybe we probably should have gotten correspondent Matt Robinson on the show but I don't know if he's, wants to talk about it right now, but that's the thing. Altamont's got a ton of good players. And so to see them get knocked off in a regional semi, that's a little, it wasn't what we were expecting. And that's not, I'm not trying to take anything away from Brownstown. Okay.
No, not at all. And again, we talked about it. Baseball, I think, is the one sport where you can see more upsets than anything else, because you can hit just ball after ball and it's an adder. Everything's right at somebody. And then the other team, a walk here, a walk there, a flare here, a flare there. Somebody boots a ground ball, then pretty soon.
Yeah. Or, you got a pitcher who's just been lights out all season and for whatever reason doesn't have a good day that day. And by the time you figure out that you're going to have to, go a different way, you're already behind. It's just, there are so many things that can go wrong or go right, it's just, it's unpredictable to more of a degree, I think, than a lot of other sports that we talk about.
I mean, St. Anthony moved on.
They played Beecher, Beecher City.
Beecher City.
Beat them 9-0.
Yeah, Brownstown knocked off Altamont. Stu Straws moved on. Stu Straws Windsor's in their championship game.
Yeah, and that's another one that, in fact, in that St. Anthony sectional, the only regional champion that has been crowned so far is Okaw Valley. They won their own regional. They beat Tuscola 7-0. So they know that they're in. But
here's the thing in today's day and age now. So they won, I'm guessing, Friday, or did they play Saturday between the rain?
No, they played. They got it in Saturday. Yeah, they played.
Okay, so their pitcher has rest Saturday or has rest Sunday, Monday because of the pitch count, and Windsor Stu Straws now has to go Monday. And that's the only thing with the pitch count issue I don't like, is because if you get caught in the postseason with a rain situation, it can hamper you.
I will say this, that the team, Okaw Valley, actually, they'll play North Clay, the winner of the North Clay regional, in their sectional semifinal. That North Clay regional the champion did not get crowned yet. I'm looking now.
No, that'll be to Monday. And that may be Josh Zink and Roy Taylor watching them on that Wabash TV thing. I'm telling you what, that's going to be a ball game.
Yeah, North Clay and South Central are playing in that North Clay regional championship. Windsor Stu Straws, I'm looking at
who play Casey.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. You gotta forgive me. I'm trying to keep it all straight here, but
I've jumped ahead to another thing, so I've changed my screen on my iPad.
They are playing the winner of the Casey regional. So it's
but who do they play for the regional championship?
Oh yeah, that's I'm looking. Casey's definitely in it. Yeah, it's Stu Straws. I'm sorry, I looked right over it. Stu Straws and Casey playing the regional.
Okay.
And so whoever wins that one then will play either St. Anthony or Brownstown.
Okay. And that sectional's at St. Anthony.
Yes, it is the
So
same.
this week looks pretty good. I think Thursday's the only chance. There ain't gonna be cooler, but
Yeah.
not 45 and breezy. So
Yeah, hopefully they get them in. I mean, I have seen baseball postseasons that have gotten tremendously messed up by rain. Although, you know, T-Town, I think probably one of those years might have benefited from it a little bit, you know, but you never know it. I guess the story in 1A in our area, yeah, is, you know, we talked about, you know, Altamont and St. Anthony. Well, only one of those two teams going to come out of a regional. Well, I think probably the underlying thing was that we expected them to be playing each other, knocking each other out, but that's not how that's going to go down. But then in 2A baseball, you know, got a notable season coming to an end as well.
T-Town gets beat by Salem 7-6. And I think Salem scored 3 in the top of the 6th, maybe. And they'd split a doubleheader earlier in the year. But again, you look at pitching, and in the postseason, Sam Busher pitched and looked like he was doing pretty good. And then looked like they strung some hits together in that 6th inning. Caden Altoff came in relief. I think pitched an inning in the 3rd. But yeah, T-Town got beat 7-6, and that ends the regional championship streak for Coach Fleener at 13.
Yeah, 2007, the last
2007. So they had 13 in a row. Going back to 2007, they didn't win that one, but they won 4 before that. So that's 17 of the last 18 years T-Town had won a baseball regional.
Yeah.
That's hats off to Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we talk about it, and I'm sure he, you know, doesn't want to have to hear about not winning one. But the reason that it's so notable is because of, you know, what that program does on a year in and year out basis. And sometimes, again, things just don't go your way, you know, and that sounds like one of those cases. So,
yeah. And I don't know. I just saw the box score. I don't think it was a case where they had a lot of air. I didn't think it was a case where they had a lot of errors, but you know, just one of those things. And that's the thing with baseball. It's just, you just never know. You really don't.
Now, Effingham will start their regional this week.
Right.
I'm going to look it up. I
forgot who they played. I saw it.
Yep, I'm pulling it up as we speak, and then we'll move on to softball. But
Mount Vernon, maybe?
Charleston.
Oh, they play Charleston. Okay.
Yeah, they play. They are at the Centralia Regional, and they play Charleston on. Let's see, the 25th would be Wednesday. Yeah, so Marion is another team in that regional. They're going to play either Mattoon or Centralia. They have to play a quarterfinal game, so I assume Marion is your number 1 seed there in that.
Okay. Okay. But they beat Charleston this year.
Yeah, they split with them, right? They had a
split with Charleston, split with Mattoon. So
yeah, you know, I'll say the same thing about Effingham that I said before the city series. Like with the pitching they've got, any one game, you know, they're dangerous, right? Like they've got, and really,
yes. I mean, I saw
anyone
Braden Powell throw a good game against Muhammad earlier in the year, and then I watched McDevitt pitch at Jim in the city series. Heck yes, they're very capable.
Well, in McDevitt, we obviously gave Mr. McDevitt an attaboy based on his pitching performance against the Charleston team. So it'd be interesting to see if that's the way that they go in that regional, you know, and really Quest Hole, you know, pitched great in the city series when we saw him there. So there's you know, they've that's the thing, they've got their 2 frontline guys, and I think they've got somebody who who can come into a game if you need to make a change, and I don't know. There's no reason in the world why they can't make some noise.
Well, they're the 4 seed. So they're the 4 seed. So yeah, that's
4 seed in their complex. Is that right?
yeah, 4 seed in their complex.
Yeah. Okay.
Marion's 1, Mascoutah and Highland are 2, 3, and they're 4. So
so they got the nod over. They're favored over. I mean, by the seedings anyway.
Yeah.
Again,
based on seedings, they're favored over Charleston.
doesn't mean a lot.
No, doesn't mean anything.
But there it is. So we'll look to see how that goes. But right now we're looking at just a handful of baseball teams from the area left standing, which is how it goes. That's just,
and there's just a handful of softball teams still in the area.
Yeah. I think softball had even less luck getting regional champions crowned. If I'm looking here, it looks like a lot of stuff is going to have to happen tomorrow, including
St. Anthony and Paris play at Tolone or St. Joe tomorrow.
Yeah,
they played in the regular season, didn't they?
Yeah, and I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look up how that went. This is the kind of preparation that
we don't want people to think we're professional.
Yeah, this is what people really are looking for. They want to watch me fire up the Google machine every time I need to know something. No, they did not play this year.
Paris was the 7th seed in that complex.
Yeah, they did not. Paris was not on their regular season schedule. I'm not sure who I was thinking of, but they have not seen Paris. Paris, according to their Max Preps page, has a 16-11 record. So I don't know. We'll see. We talked about how St. Anthony got bumped up to 2A this year after going to the 1A championship game last year, and might be a little bit tougher road. But you got to feel like
Yeah, Paris was the 7th seed. I think T-Town played Paris. Somebody played Paris earlier in the season.
St. Anthony, I will say this, coming out of the City Series, they were swinging the bats well. I think that the hope was that they would probably catch it a little bit better than they had been.
Yeah,
but they're capable of putting up big numbers offensively, and they've been doing it all year long. And I think that's going to be their recipe for success. It's not that they don't have good pitching; they've got good pitching, but I think that
right. I think an advantage they have is they got a pretty deep lineup.
Yes,
I don't know they're the kind that a girl's going to come in and get 14 strikeouts against them. I just don't see that. It could happen. But I just think they're, 1 through 10 or 11, really. I mean, they've got kids to come off the bench and play, can hit the ball. So, yeah. And, it's postseason. They've all been through it. So there's no jitters. I mean, my gosh, you go to Casey and win a sectional against Casey. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And so they've been through that. Played for a state championship, had a shot at it. So yeah, Teutopolis got beat by Westville. I think 2-0 was that score. And Courtney Gibson got 100 strikeout in that game. So there's a tip of the hat to her. Westville, actually Saturday, they played their championship game. Tolono beat Westville 6-0.
And Tolono's a team St. Anthony played very early in the season, first game of the season, in fact, and got beat.
First game of the year back when there was snow flurries, probably.
Yeah. So, take from that what you will. Ancient history at this point, I would think. But yeah, again, we've talked about it with T-Town. It's a tough way to go, to have a kid that you think is going to be your stud pitcher and then to not have that person. And in softball, more than any sport, that's that's a tough battle to come up with. But Coach Tipton's team had a good year. They had somebody else step up and had a really, really good competitive season. So, hats off to them for, every team's going to have some level of adversity to deal with, but that's an especially.
Yeah, they are the only regional in that complex that's not done.
Yeah.
All three others are done. So there may be some scouting. Some teams may be at St. Joe Monday watching that game. But the winner of that, if St. Anthony can prevail, they'll face Bloomington Central Catholic in the sectional.
Yeah. That's a long way from, they play like Hudsonville Palestine in the regional championship last year. It's just
who had a really good pitcher but made a lot of errors.
Yeah. It's just, to me, it's just you look at the difference, 1A and 2A, just the schools you go to, like how much you have to travel, to play that regional, and then just the programs that you go up against, get into a sectional. And again, Central Catholic, I don't know anything about Bloomington Central Catholic softball.
I saw a blurb on the news. I watched the news Friday night. Monticello jumped out to a 3-0 lead at the top of the first, and then got beat 10-3. So
yeah. As far as 1A goes,
Charleston's still alive, I believe.
Yeah, they were supposed to play that Hudsonville Palestine team for a regional championship at Oblong. That didn't get played. They'll play that Monday night. I'm looking. One team that did get their regional championship played was South Central. South Central beat Altamont 7-1 in a regional championship at Kinmundy Friday. So Ted Kerner's team moves on to a sectional. I saw a nice picture of him getting an ice water bath, which I'm sure he loved.
That would be a good picture. I'd like to see that picture.
He was holding the plaque though, and I got to tell those girls, you got to wait till he hands off the plaque before you douse him. I mean, dump all the water on him you want. The colder, the better.
Gatorade's better. It's sticky.
Yeah, but make sure he puts that plaque down first, folks. But that's good for them. I know South Central's had some pretty tough injuries that they have had to deal with. So for them to still get the regional championship is nice. What's not so nice for them is that now they're going to have to play Casey Westfield at Casey, and Casey is Casey's always good, right? Casey's an institution, but especially this year, very good team.
Well, their catcher, Lakeland's going to the Nationals, and their catcher is their catcher from last year, the girl from Casey. She made all conference, and she was a heck of a catcher. I was very impressed with her behind the plate. But yeah, I just saw Lakeland's going to the Nationals. I just checked to see area kids on there, and this Richardson girl was their catcher.
Yeah, so I think Casey softball is kind of in the same conversation with T-Town girls basketball, right? Like just year in and year out, you pretty much better count on them being pretty darn good, because it's just ingrained at this point, right? Like they don't know how to do anything but be good. So I'm looking.
Bass fishing got rained out. We had nobody at the state championship. So
bass fishing. That's I can't speak intelligently about that one at all, unfortunately.
I talked to some of the T-Town kids. I go, you're supposed to be good. What happened? Well, they weren't biting. I said, well, they bit for somebody. So I was giving them some grief. But no, that's I think Carlisle Lake, that gets canceled more than it's held. Because you don't want to be on a lake and a lot of wind and a lot of lightning. It's a bad comment.
No, I've heard that that's not the greatest idea.
Here, let's send these high school kids out in a boat and it's lightning.
Make sure our insurance premiums are paid up first. Which you'd be able to talk to them a little bit about that. Be able to speak intelligently.
Bad idea.
Well, I'll tell you what. As you could tell, I got about just a few minutes of voice left.
All right. Well, most important thing is I want to know how I'm getting Max oatmeal cookies I ordered.
Yeah. Well, I know that Greg texted me this week or earlier this weekend, wanted to know what my availability was as far as covering games. So probably sometime Tuesday or Thursday, I'll be in town, and I will special deliver those.
right.
My daughter decided that
How
she
many are in the package? So I know to make sure there's nothing missing.
8 cookies. 8 cookies.
All right. That's what I'm just checking. I read this. I read it on Facebook. I knew.
Yeah. My daughter likes to bake, and she decided that she wanted to start trying to sell baked goods. And we said, sure, but you gotta do something philanthropic with it. So yeah, she's been doing this for a few weeks now. She's been able to she gives a quarter of her, she has to buy her own stuff. Okay. She has to buy her own materials. She sells these cookies $5 a plate. She gives 25% to St. Jude's, plus any donations that anyone gives her. She doesn't get to keep any donations.
No tips.
Nope.
All right.
So she's been able to give $160 to St. Jude's. Plus, I think we're sitting on probably, I don't know, we haven't made another donation lately. We do it in chunks, but we're probably close.
She needs a financial advisor.
You think so? Well,
At her age, by and large, as bad as it is, when she's older, it has to be better than it is now. Hey, we had 2 notable things happen in the world of sports.
Okay.
Number 1, Trace Jackson Davis is coming back to Indiana.
Yeah, I saw that.
So and they had 2 really, really good recruits. Yeah, way too early. Prognosticators are putting them at the top of the Big Ten. Way too early. I understand.
Well,
way too early.
Indiana, sort of a perennial underachiever in the Big Ten these days.
Well, they have been. They did okay this year. They kind of wet themselves in a lot of close games, but during the Big Ten tournament, they had a big win. Oh yeah, that's right. They beat Illinois.
That's exciting news for them. He's obviously a special player.
He is, and he needed another. He's got to work on that. Be able to shoot that mid-range jumper, or be able to step out to the 3. He's got to be able to do that to be effective at the next level, because he plays against men every night at that level.
Yeah.
Like I think Mr. Coburn's going to find out.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll wait and see on Kofi. I wish he would have come back, but
he may end up in Turkey on the all-Turkey team or something. I'm just saying.
Well, and the thing is like you say, with a lot of guys, they could go overseas and make more money than they're going to make in college, obviously. But with the NIL stuff that you were just talking about, I think he was banking out. He probably banking out okay. And
he's probably doing okay. He's not doing. Who was it? Was it the kid that Florida or Miami basketball had a deal for $400,000?
I saw this, and some booster.
That's not bad for a college kid.
Yeah, but didn't it turned ugly, right?
Yeah, because another kid supposedly was going to leave if he didn't get a bigger deal. Or this kid got 800 and another kid had 4 and he was mad. Well, now you got Nick Saban, and he's throwing barbs at Jimbo Fisher and Deion Sanders. Yeah. And now it's getting ugly.
Let me tell you something. When it comes to Division I power conference sports, okay, let he who is not sinned cast the first stone, and no stones will ever fly, because
Jimbo Fisher lit him up.
I know, but all that tells me is that Jimbo Fisher feels like he's probably got his bases covered well enough,
Well, see, they said they were on the same staff at LSU. I read a little backstory. They don't like each other. And I guess when they were on the same staff at LSU, one was on the offensive side, one was on the defensive side. And more than one time would they be in ugly shouting matches in coaches' meetings.
Well,
I guess they don't like each other.
I could never imagine.
Saban was speaking at a booster club event, which is always a bad time for someone to be recording. And as soon as he was done begging the crowd for money, then he started ripping on these guys for their NIL deals. And supposedly they have deals in place before kids sign their letters of intent. And then he took a shot at Deion's. Some kid claiming they paid some kid $1 million. The best recruit in college football is going to, where's Deion at?
I don't know. But don't call him Deion. He got mad when they called him Deion. His name is Coach Sanders.
Oh, Coach Sanders.
You didn't see where when he first got there, he went on some rant because a reporter called him Deion instead of Coach Sanders.
So Coach Sanders, where's he at?
Somewhere in Florida.
It's not, yeah.
Deion Sanders is the coach at Jackson State.
See, I said that, Jackson State. So they supposedly got the best recruit in the country. And yeah, and Saban took a shot, and then Coach Sanders, of course, he threw back. But then I'll tell you what, Jimbo Fisher, that's worth listening to. You can pull that one up.
I did. I listened to it. But let me tell you something. My position will never change. They are all 100% full of shit. Okay.
Yeah, they trust me there. Because Fisher even says, ask Saban's assistants how he gets, he did everything. But I saw on the Dan Patrick show, he said, hey, then why didn't the reporter ask the next question? Coach, can you be more specific?
Yeah, well.
They won't cross that line.
You don't.
Other than in Illinois when you had the big deal with Deion Thomas. Then they crossed the line.
You don't want to get me off on the tangent about why high-level sports journalists don't do their jobs, because obviously if you ask the tough questions and you stop,
you don't get to go to those meetings.
Yeah, you don't get to be there anymore. So
and then the other event.
Yeah, this is not so fun. Not so fun.
No, I just heard tonight. I didn't know. I guess it happened Thursday. Chad Green is on the injured list, and they said on the pregame show I heard tonight. I don't know. I think I had to go to Walmart and get some fixings for supper, but I guess he has to have Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that's what ESPN's.
That's being reported.
Yep. So,
and he was having a good season.
That's a tough one because, Chad doesn't. I guess I would have figured that if he was gonna blow his arm out, it would have probably happened by now. A lot of guys, it happens earlier. But
happens early in your career.
Yeah. I mean, even with Danny, he had his pretty early in his professional career. Hopefully that wasn't some sort of a jinx that we brought on Chad by, getting Danny on the show last week and talking about Tommy John surgery.
So I don't know Chad's contract status, if this was his last year. Because that's always a bad thing if it happens in the last year of your contract.
Yeah, because and the thing is, for it to happen in the middle of a season, that means that, your rehab is going to carry you into the next season.
Yeah, you're probably looking at July next year.
I'm looking at, I'm pulling up Chad's baseball reference page, which is always cool just to say, that a local athlete has a baseball reference page.
Yeah.
But he is, this is it. This is
his walk year.
Yeah. Earliest free agent 2023 is what it says.
So yeah, this was his year so he'll go into next year. He'll be a free agent. And I'm assuming when you're rehabbing, someone may say, hey, we'll pay you 30 cents on the dollar and sign you, knowing you got it. Because I remember when the Cardinals did that with Chris Carpenter. They picked him up with injury when he left Toronto when he was done. And that turned out well. But so I don't know. I feel bad. I hate to see it, but I hope he's able to go through the process and come back. And a lot of times people come back throw harder than they did before they got hurt.
The toughest thing is, again, you have the procedure, you're working, it's team doctors or what, that are looking after you. And
so is that all done when the season's over?
I don't know. I really don't know how it works. It'd be interesting to ask the man himself about it.
Those would be good questions for Mr. Green, maybe in the next couple of weeks, if we can.
Give him time. We give him some time before we bug him, but maybe we can see about.
So are you bugging him or am I bugging him?
I don't know. I know that I still have a good phone number for his dad, at least. So
I can get that. That's not a problem. I can. His son-in-law's dad lives kind of 2 doors down from me, so.
Well, I don't know.
We'll work on it. We'll figure it out. But no, I mean, under these circumstances, I hate to see it. But
Sure.
yeah,
But a lot of times,
maybe he'll break news and he'll have already signed next year.
a lot of times, though, I mean, if a guy is a proven contributor like that, though, I mean,
Teams will take a chance.
Yeah, they'll want to see what they can do. I mean, we go back to Danny Winkler. I mean, that's part of the reason he was an attractive Rule 5 pick for the Braves when they took him from the Rockies, was because he was rehabbing that Tommy John surgery, and so they could. The deal with Rule 5 is that you have to be on the active roster on the 25 man for, I think it's a year or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they could IL him that entire time. And then, they liked what they saw. Maybe it's and he ended up getting a chance, right? Like to be a major contributor in the bullpen. So, Chad's obviously proven himself. I mean,
well, and having Danny on last week, he talked about Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter either was released or elected to be released. There's no place for him to play on that infield. And I think it's kind of one of those deals where, hey, if by this date,
business decision.
Yeah. Or they're letting him go out and try to find somebody else. He hit
another home run. He hit another home run for them before he left. I saw that too. So,
and now Cardinals have finally called up three young kids who Gorman's now, I get granted a very small sample size, but he's hitting 500. He's got, I think, 2 or 3 doubles. Yepez is hitting like 380, doing a great job. And the Donovan kid is doing really well too. And I know it's small sample sizes, but yeah, it was time to start doing that. And Yadier Molina pitched today.
Yeah. The Cardinals are the first team I've seen to go to position players pitching when they have the big lead. Usually it's when you're the team that's way down. That's put somebody out there, but
I think it's a case where they were so, and it was funny. I got online today and happened to watch the start of the game, and MLB, the streaming service, and they were talking about Jim Edmonds was the color commentator for Peacock, and they were talking about, Steven Matz really has to go deep in this game. Their bullpen is ravaged. He threw 4 pitches.
Yeah.
And I think it was his side. No, shoulder stiffness.
I was going to say, if it was a side, we just saw Max Scherzer go down with
an he's down. He went on. Did they already move him to the 60?
I don't know, but they said it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. So,
but yeah, he's so I guess Libator was at the airport. They had to get a hold of him and tell him not to get on a plane because they brought Rondon up taxi. And then he came on when they sent Libator down, so they'd have another bullpen arm. And then he came in and gave him 5 strong innings today. So for once, the Cardinals shuffling paid off.
I feel like
Pujols hit 2 homers. He's at 683 now.
I just feel like the Cardinals have that devil magic going with their guys that they call up. They come up and rake for a while. They do that.
Are you talking about like Bo Hart?
Well,
who hit like 500 for 2 months.
Well, he's not the only
one. I know.
One.
You're right, it does.
Paul DeYoung did it for longer than that. And now he's
pretty much Paul DeYoung, Alan Craig.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes you sick. Makes you want to throw up.
Paul DeYoung's not hitting in Memphis either. So
man, Paul DeYoung might
Nolan Gorman may have a spot for a while now.
Yeah. All right. Hey, let's do an attaboy and get out of here.
All right.
And
we have an attaboy, and
we don't go out looking to do repeat attaboys, but
I think we had to. When you have a state champion, I think that pretty well trumps any other thing that we could come up with for an attaboy. So
yeah,
with that, Grace Nelson is the first recipient. It's all timing. So
you want me to do it again now?
Yeah.
Boy, this has been a disaster.
So Grace gets the second attaboy. We got to figure out how to get this to her now because School's out. Oh, is school out yet?
Some schools are, some aren't. Yoga still has school for a couple days this week. I don't know about Altamont.
I think Altamont does, but I don't know how we're gonna get that to her.
I don't know,
I
but
may reach out to Matt
I-
Robinson.
I got to get you. I got to get you to this sound clip on your computer too, so that when you're doing the naming, you can just press the button. I think that's
Okay.
something we're gonna have to work
So the
on.
timing's smoother.
Well, I mean, I just butchered that one, man. That was
All right.
possibly the worst one yet. And
All right.
yeah, I I agree with you. I don't know how you don't somebody
Yeah,
gets
I
3
think
medals.
that was, we had to make that deservedly so. I mean,
And
not
plus
like we're
we
giving Mike Wilson his 4th Attaboy of the year. So
well, and we didn't really, have any
we
super
had some weeks we
teams.
missed.
We didn't have any super local teams, win a regional in softball or baseball yet. No heroics really to speak of there. So,
And we've talked about area teams going deep and stuff. It doesn't get any deeper than the state champion. So now softball and baseball's on the clock. Hopefully somebody from the area will go deep.
yeah, I mean, but by that same token, we could be recording a week from now and have nothing left to talk about.
Everybody be done.
We could. It's possible. It's possible. And I think probably whenever that happens, we may, I don't know, we may do this less regularly. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we may have to take a week or two off because we can't do any Braves talk because there's nothing to talk about.
Well, I wish I could argue with you, but they're just sort of hovering in that mediocre range. So
Along with another team. So
yeah. All right. I think that's good, Mike.
all right, that'll work.
All right. Well, until next week, I guess we'll leave it there. That's your preview for what we'll be talking about next week. Again, all those baseball and softball regionals that are getting played early this week, and then some sectional games, the boys state track meet. We will touch on all that next week. And until then, have a good week, Mike.
All right, you too, bud.
All right, later.